PLC. Let me begin, first of all, by welcoming all of you, to this yet another experience where we believe we're going to share important knowledge with regard to how we can grow our businesses. But let me begin also by acknowledging the sponsors of the training program, Kansanshi Mining PLC, also thanking them for their unwavering and consistent support with regard to ensuring that the business development training program becomes as effective as possible with consistency and with impact to the business community. Now, before we go into our lesson for today, um, we are going to first of all do the following. We are going to listen to a COVID talk. We're going to also go through the objectives of the training, because it's always very important that we remind ourselves as to why we attend this training program. And then we're going to go into the lesson, and then 30 minutes before the end of the training, we are going to open the phone lines, and all you are required to do is give us a missed call, and then we shall be able to phone you back so that we can answer the questions that will come through. So let's get our notebooks, our pens ready, and let's call our friends to say the business development training program has started. Now, before we listen to the COVID talk, let me just remind the target group. We are here. This program is designed for the micro, small entrepreneurs. By micro, we mean the business startups. You may be registered as a business, whether you are a limited company or you are maybe registered as a business name, or you're registered as a cooperative. Whatever legal entity that you have, you are welcome to this training program as we share knowledge and experiences on how we can manage our businesses better, grow our businesses better. But you may also be a very small business. You are not yet formalized. You have not registered with PACRA or any organization, but you are doing some business. Maybe you are even selling on the streets. Maybe you are somebody who goes around with items for sale, and these are people that we call street hawkers. Maybe you have a small shop, you have a timber, or maybe you are an artisan. Whatever it is that you are doing, this is the right platform for you, because we'll share knowledge and we will actually give you the ability to build yourself up so that you can become that prominent registered business in the near future. Well, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, let me call upon my colleague. He's going to greet you, and then he'll give us a very short COVID talk, because we need to remind ourselves of the time that we are living in. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Welcome, listeners. My name's Elliot Mtesi. I'm going to share with you, or is it reminding each other on the COVID issues. I also would like to inform the nation, actually the listeners, that we already have this Omicron virus around our communities. 3 cases were detected in Lusaka. That shows that already it is available in our communities. This simply means we are heading towards the 4th wave, which we were fearing all along. So, in order to prepare ourselves for that, so that we protect ourselves, we need to continue, following those 5 golden rules. In addition to those 5 golden rules, we have the vaccination, which is the 6th one. What are these 5 golden rules? We are saying mask up. Maxing up, that is using a face mask correctly, meaning you should make sure that it covers your nose and your mouth. You can use those surgical masks which are found in hospitals, or you can use those homemade masks which you can buy in the streets. They are all good. In fact, those that we buy in the streets are even better because they are reusable. You can use them after you have used them, you wash them, iron them, then you can put them on again. The second one is social or physical distancing. You need to maintain a distance at least of 1 meter to 2 meters between you and the other person as you move around. Ensure that there is that distance of 1 meter between you and the other person. You also must regularly wash your hands with soap and water, or where possible, use a hand sanitizer regularly. You also should sanitize all those frequently touched places. We are talking of tables, chairs. Those should frequently be cleaned and sanitized. The fourth one, let's observe cough etiquettes. When you feel like you want to cough, don't remove your face mask. Cough in your face mask. If it's not on, make sure you cough in a handkerchief, which can be washed later on, or in a tissue paper, or in your bent elbow. Cough in there so that you avoid spreading the virus to others. Let's avoid those hugs and handshakes that we were used to. Those are a thing of the past. As it now, please, let's not do that. When you feel you are not fine, you are feeling unwell, please stay home and seek medical attention. Avoid crowded places as much as possible. These crowded places we are talking about, some of them are markets, funerals, churches, gatherings. Yes, already we have gotten a directive from the Ministry of Health that we should reduce the time spent in those public places like churches, church gatherings. As for markets also, I know that you may not completely do away with going to the market. You need to buy something. And some of us are even traders in there. Make sure that as much as possible, you spend little time in there. You go there, buy what you want to buy, and come back quickly. The sixth one is vaccination. We have heard that the vaccines are very much available in the country. Everywhere you go, in all health institutions, these vaccinations are being given there. Please do access them. Go and get vaccinated. These vaccines are good. They are cheap, free of charge, and they will protect you. from this disease that we are talking about. Do not listen to those rumor mongers who are telling you that when you get vaccinated, maybe you not have children. Those are lies. Some are saying when you get vaccinated, on that vaccine site, when you put your phone, it will get stuck there. I am one person who is vaccinated fully, and my phone doesn't stick to my arm. Then where is the truth? You know, where did they get that from? So all those are lies. Please protect yourself. Get this vaccine, because when you have gotten this vaccine, even if you got the infection, you will not be very ill to warrant that maybe you end up being on oxygen. Those who are vaccinated fully, when they get this disease, usually it's mild. It's just a mere flu, and they are okay. So this is just to remind us, please. We have been talking about this every month, and our colleagues also have been preaching this message every day. Why we are doing this is to encourage you to protect yourself, because the more people that are vaccinated, the more protection we have as a country. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that COVID talk. Let us now, first of all, very quickly go through the objectives of the training. I'll very quickly go through them. We always remind ourselves as to why we attend these training programs. We have 24 topics, 24 modules that we cover in a period of 24 months, but the objectives are the same. The first objective is to acquire knowledge and skill for enterprise development, because knowledge that is acquired and applied is what gives you the power, the ability to excel, the ability to become a successful entrepreneur. Knowledge, information, very, very important. So let us embrace knowledge. The second objective is to give us the ability to create employment. We need to join hands with Kansanshi Mining PLC, because we need to realize that one company cannot employ every Zambian. It is impossible, no matter how big the investment is. So we need to create employment. If you are a small business person, the first employee is yourself. And then as you begin to expand, you need help, then you can bring in one or two or three. It can be casual workers, it can be permanent workers. Tomorrow, those that are going to attend tomorrow's lesson, as we'll be talking about Zambian labor laws, we're going to talk about it from the business context, and we'll talk more about employment. So employment creation, join hands with the government to create employment. The government says they would like to create employment and to grow the economy through SMEs, meaning that in this time, in this dispensation, you are recognized. You as a business person, you are very, very important. As we go into 2022, as the national budget begins to work, let's position ourselves. Position yourself as a small business person, because you're going to be key to create employment in this country. You'll be key for economic development in the country. So the second objective is employment creation. We said the first one was acquiring knowledge for enterprise development. Number two, it is to create employment. Number three, the aim is to create businesses that shall be sustainable beyond the lifespan of the mine, okay, the sponsoring mine, beyond the lifespan of the owner of the business. Business should be perpetuated into posterity. In other words, we need to start creating businesses with the mind of having those businesses to outlive us. When you grow your business very well, then you would have solved the problem of unemployment in your household. Your children should not go looking for jobs. Okay, they should not be stuck in the employment market, unless if they are going to find jobs elsewhere because they are very marketable. That's different. But they should not be stuck because you have a business and you're going to leave them that business to run when you retire. And even when you have gone, they should continue running that business, growing that business, and they will also pass it on. They will pass the baton on to the next generation. So the third objective is to create businesses that are sustainable. As you apply that knowledge, you are sure that you are creating a firm foundation where you are going to have businesses that are well managed and they shall continue to grow. You can give so many examples of companies that have existed for a very long time, very, very long time, over 100 years. Okay, some have been there for over 50 years. Look at the companies that like Coca-Cola. We are still drinking Coke, we are still drinking Fanta. The owners died long time ago. We are enjoying nice vehicles nowadays. We have the latest Toyotas and all those vehicles. The owners died many years ago, but the companies are improving. They keep on improving. So you can improve that farm business. You can improve, that factory that small factory that you have created. You can improve that shopping business. Every business that you are doing has capacity to become a business that is going to be sustainable. The fourth objective, the last objective, of course, is to create a platform where businesses that are trained under this program will be formalized. Why is formalization important? Registration of that business is important because you will be recognized. When you are registered, you will be recognized by other institutions and they will be able to do business with you. You will be recognized by the general public, and the public will trust you and they will be able to come and procure your goods and services. So, for instance, if you are in the medical field, you want to start a business, you want to open a pharmacy, that pharmacy must be registered with PACRA and all the necessary licenses must be obtained so that people, the general public, can trust that they can come in a pharmacy which has experts, which is run legally and it is run by experts. So is any other business, whether it is construction. No company is going to give you a construction tender. No government will give you a construction tender. No council will give you a construction tender if you are not legally registered. Let us position ourselves as small business people. Your time to grow has come, and I'll not dwell so much into the issue of CDF because this is not what we're talking about. But government has brought resources to the people. In 2022, CDF is coming to the constituencies, 25.7 million. How do you tap into it? It is by formalizing. You formalize, okay? Formalize and make sure that when you hear, as youths, when you hear that there are grants being offered, don't be lazy to go there, find out more, apply for those grants. Women's groups, position yourselves. All kinds of groups, small businesses, limited companies, position yourselves to tap into the economy. If you don't position yourselves, if you don't, tap into the resources that are going to come in your constituencies, there are others who are going to come because they are Zambians and they've got companies and they meet the criteria, and they will come and partake of that money that is supposed to come to you. So let us be, uh, very prudent. Let us be very aggressive and position ourselves. Formalize your business, and that is actually the fourth and last objective. Okay, now that we have gone through the objectives, let us go through, let us introduce our subject for today. Today, we are looking at the topic business or project appraisal. Okay, business or project appraisal. We are going to be very systematic, and deliberately we want to move with you at a pace where you are going to understand whatever it is that we are going to teach. And thank you, my colleagues who are following. We are live on our Facebook page. We are live on our Facebook page, Fortune World Investments. You just go to Fortune World Investments and you'll be able to follow us. You'll be able to see all the PowerPoint presentations. The goodness with Facebook is that you can go back and revise. And then we also have a YouTube channel. So these presentations will be uploaded to our YouTube channel within the next 48 hours. You can go there, you can play them over and over again, and it's a good platform for you to revise. The advantage also is that in the event that you are not within Solwezi CBD, where you can catch the radio frequency, you can follow us on Facebook and YouTube from any part of the world. And we intend to actually ensure that we perpetuate this training program so that many beneficiaries in the country can actually join the business development training program. So Mr. Kamau, welcome. Mr. Kamau says I'm following. Mr. Alex Sinjikinya, he says I'm following. You are most welcome, and thank you for being very loyal to this program. I believe that the Lord is going to grant you that expansion that you desire. You grow from level to level. Let's continue empowering ourselves. Let us begin by our definitions in our introduction. We are looking at business or project appraisal. Now, what is appraisal? What is to appraise? To appraise simply means, it is an estimate in value or quality of something. So you are appraising something, or you are estimating, you are measuring that particular, project or business, okay? You are appraising something. You want to evaluate it. You want to evaluate its quality. You want to evaluate its effectiveness, its impact. That is what the word appraisal means. Let us take note, because this is foundational, and throughout this, throughout our lesson today, we are going to be looking at appraisal. So let us understand the foundation, the definition. What is business appraisal? Business appraisal, from the definition that we have given of appraisal, can be defined as an investigation. We are investigating into the probability with regard to the value and the quality of service that we are offering to our customers in comparison to our performance. Let me simplify it. Business appraisal is simply the evaluation of our business's value and the quality of the services that we offer to our customers in comparison with our performance. Okay? So you are measuring the value and the quality of your business based on how you perform. That is business appraisal. And we are going to be, as we go deep into the topic, we'll be able to show you all the areas in which this business evaluation can be done. So we are saying business appraisal, from this definition we have given, is actually, number one, an investigation into the business that you are running or into the project that you are doing, so that you can ascertain the quality of service that you are offering to customers in comparison with your performance. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow entrepreneurs, we need to take the aspect of quality service very seriously if we are going to grow as SMEs. If you master the art of quality while you are small, you will not struggle with quality when you become big. But if you are not very sensitive to offering quality services, we can give you a grant. Any organization can give you a grant of 1 million to invest in your business. You are going to have a big, big investment. You'll be a company with a lot of money, but poor services. So, as you are appraising your business or appraising your projects, you are investigating the business's value. So value is measured in terms of the quality of the service to the customers, and also your performance, your management skills, your customer care, your input as the business owners. It's very, very important. So the ultimate goal of a business appraisal is therefore to show you a reflection of the value of your business or your company. That is the ultimate goal. So when you do an appraisal, you want to come up with information that is accurate, that is going to show you how your business is valued. What is the true value of your business? What is the true value of your company? Okay? So the final report that you produce must be documented, and it must be used as a basis for negotiation between correct parties. In other words, when your business is evaluated, if you want to let's say, invite a partner to come on board, you have a business and you are saying, I want a partner, somebody who can come and bring machinery and bring in more cash flow. You want a partner. You want to have a 50-50 arrangement with that partner. You need to evaluate your business correctly and honestly, so that your partner will have a clear picture of what they need to invest in. That is actually very, very important. It is very important that we are very honest in the way we are doing the appraisal. Okay, so what is project appraisal? Having defined business appraisal, let us also define project appraisal. Okay, because a project is part of what a business is doing. A business is the entire organization and its operations. But a project can be a specific project, like you are building a house, that can be a project. Like you are developing a farm, that's a project. The rains have come. Some of you are going to be planting maize. You have planned how many limas and hectares you're going to plant. That's a project. So what is project appraisal? It is a consistent process of reviewing a given or named project. Okay? You evaluate that project, evaluate its content to approve or reject it. Okay? So in other words, when you are evaluating a project, there is the aspect of measuring how well that project is, and you can either approve whether that work that is being done is being done according to specifications, or you can reject it so that you can have it fixed. Okay? So you are analyzing it, analyzing the problems, so that you can generate solutions, and you can select the most appropriate or the most feasible options, and then you are able to identify the right people or the right organization or the right equipment that is required for you to achieve the expected outcomes. So, in other words, when you are appraising a project appraisal simply means to be consistent in reviewing a particular project. Okay? And what are you evaluating? You are evaluating the detail. You are evaluating the specifications that you have set for yourselves or that have been set for you to achieve that particular project. So, for instance, next year, if those companies that are going to apply for projects under CTF and you are given a 1x2 classroom block to build, they'll give you specifications. The councils will give you specifications and there'll be inspectors. So when they come, they'll be evaluating your project. At slab level, they evaluate it, they pass it. At roof level, at every level. Before you are paid for every stage, they have to pass it. But when they reject it, because maybe the walls are bent, then you have to solve the problem. You have to generate solutions. How do you generate those solutions? You need, first of all, even before you start the project, to identify qualified people that you will work with. Okay? Identify the right people or identify the right organization. Bring in the right equipment or tools that are needed for you to build that 1x2 classroom block in order for you to have the appropriate and expected outcomes. So, in project appraisal management, therefore, we are saying that this is an essential stage. It is very important, okay, in any project, whether it's a big project, whether it's a mining project. You have seen that our sponsor Kansanshi is actually the largest copper mine here. Okay, they evaluate their performance. So regardless of its nature, whether you are in the business of mining, whether you are in the business of producing vegetables, whether you are a shop owner, it's a retail store, whether you are a small factory, you are welding things for sale, whatever type of business, whatever size, you may be worth 1 million kwacha, or your business may be worth 250 kwacha. You are a small business. You are selling tomatoes on the street. You still need to appraise your projects. Okay? So appraising a project simply means evaluating the proposed solutions against its ability to solve the identified problems or needs. So in other words, you have set yourself goals and you are evaluating the project based on the set goals. You want to see whether what you planned is exactly what you are executing so that you can see whether this thing is actually going to work. I believe we have given ourselves, the foundation. So even as my colleague is coming to talk about the next segment, I need us at the back of our minds to understand the foundation of what a business appraisal is and what a project appraisal is. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we proceed to look at the elements to be appraised. Just as my colleague has mentioned, at the beginning, as you prepare to start your business, we have things that we do. One of those things are we set objectives. You set objectives which you want to achieve by going into that particular business. Then you draw what we call a business plan. These are the two tools that you are going to use. A business plan actually will be a roadmap of what you feel your business should do. And attached to that, it also has a financial plan. It talks about monies. Which monies? How much are you going to plow in? And how much money are you expecting to get out of that? So simply, when you draw up what the business was established to do, you set your objective first. Then you also work out how much money you need to start and operate that particular business, and how much money you are or you were to make out of that business. So those are the two things that you have to look at. Your objectives, which you must achieve. And then you have your plan, which is already set or already drawn. So activity one, as you appraise, this is what you will be looking at. With reference to the business plan, you are going to ask yourselves, what are some of the elements that you can look at during a business appraisal? So you actually put your business plan aside. You say, now here is my business plan. What elements am I going to look at as in the process of appraising? One example, in a business plan, you mentioned that you were going to spend input, the money that you are going to put into there as investment, maybe it's 200 kwacha. Now, when you go to your appraisal, you'll be looking at, have I actually plowed in the 200 kwacha which I said I was going to plow in? And in your business plan, you said, after plowing in this 200 kwacha, I should be able to get a profit of maybe 50 kwacha. Which means after you have done your business, you should get 150 kwacha. That's what you are expecting roughly. So that you will say, my 100 kwacha which I plowed in, here it is. And now the excess, after removing all the other issues like payments, you say, okay, this is my profit. Now, as you do your appraisal, you'll be looking at that. Have I achieved this? Okay? So those goals you set for yourselves. It's yourself that set those goals. And will now serve as your benchmarks. Okay? That's a benchmark which I gave you. Now you will say, have I achieved this benchmark? Okay? So it will be very important for you at this level to even make sure that you keep correct records. Because as you are doing your appraisal, you'll be comparing the planned and the actual performance. So you'll be saying, this is what I have planned, and this is my performance now, because you'll be going into your records to see what you are doing, your performance. Then you compare it with what you planned. So a business appraisal will help you look at your business from a different perspective altogether. Here are some of the elements you'll be looking at. Some questions to be answered are your products on demand? The other question, are they meeting the customer's needs? Okay. When we start business, we have what we call a market research. First, you sit down and look at your market. What is it that I'm going to bring to these people, which they don't have, which if I brought to them, they would buy? Then you also look at the type of goods. Okay. For example, if you are in a market area or in an area where you have most people who are there are young ones, when you take goods there for elderly people like me, you may have a challenge because they will not buy them. Then you have an issue there. So this is what you look at. Does it make, what we call economic sense? Are your goods meeting the customer's needs? One thing for sure is that the buyers and your competitors are each comparing alternative products, and you should be able to sell only if you meet your customers' needs. Okay? Here we are looking at, in the marketplace. As you go into the marketplace, we said you ask yourself these two questions. Do I have the goods which my customers will need to buy? Are these goods of good quality that they will attract customers? So these are some of the questions that you will ask yourself. We go to the other one, business values. Do you want to take that?
Okay. So, as we continue, to do our business appraisal, there is what we call the business value. And for the purpose of appraising the business, okay, we can define a business as an organization or an organized method of producing revenues routinely over a period of time. So that business that you are running is actually an organization that you have created that is going to generate or is already generating revenue over a long period of time. So now the value of a business can therefore be divided into these two components, okay, for us to determine the business value. The first one is what we call the asset value. Let's move slowly together so that we can actually understand these things very well. Okay, we are looking at the value of the business value. So the asset value will actually evaluate the value of your assets such as machinery and equipment, or you may have buildings and you may have stock, etc. Those are assets. Assets are those tangible things that you utilize in your business to generate, that routine income over a period of time. Let me give an example. You may be a small manufacturing company and you have bought yourself a machine that is able to press oil from groundnuts and soybeans. Okay, so you have this machine. That machine is actually an asset and it is able to generate income for you because it is able to press that cooking oil. You package the cooking oil in containers and in bottles and you are able to sell. Okay, maybe you have a welding machine. That is machinery and equipment. So your equipment may also be in the form of tools. You are in construction and you've got tools and equipment such as scaffolds. You know, scaffolds are those things that we climb on when we are, we are going high. We are building something that is high. You stand on top there safely. That is something that will make you to make money in your construction your construction business. You may have buildings. Some of you may have houses for rent. Okay, if you are using those houses to generate income as a business, then those are your assets. A house can be an asset if it generates income, but sometimes buildings can be liabilities if they don't generate income. Okay, there is somebody with a building somewhere in Solwezi and people wonder why that building is not really well occupied by tenants. But that is a story for another day. So you can have buildings which generate income. You can have a shop. Okay, maybe that shop is your own building and you have stock inside there. That stock can also be valued as, under asset value. That stock is your asset. The TVs that you are selling, the fridges that you are selling. Yeah, a small business. You have, a business that sells stationery. That stationery is, part of the assets. If you have a hardware shop, you are selling door handles, you are selling padlocks, you are selling chains, whatever it is that you are selling, those are your assets and they can be evaluated under the asset value. Okay, so we are saying under the business value, we have two components. The first one is the one that we have talked about, which is the asset value, which talks about machinery, equipment, buildings, and stock. The second one is under the intangible assets category. The first one is under the asset value category. The second one is under the intangible assets. So just note the difference. The first one is being called asset value. The second one is being called the intangible assets value. Tangible and intangible. What are intangible assets? Intangible assets will be, assets, that will be in the form of maybe historical records. Okay. They will be in the form of maybe cash flow. Okay. They can be in the form of a customer list and loyalty and so on and so forth. Let me take a bit of time to explain what we mean. So, historical records may give you valid information that is going to show how worth your business is, how your business was evaluated in the past, okay, to show that business's strength and value, capacity. Okay, cash flow. Cash is an intangible asset because cash is actually, what we call currency, and we measure currency, okay, as cash flow because it is not something that can be regarded as a tangible asset, okay. It is not in the form of a building or equipment, but it is cash flow, and it is very imperative that you know we are able to differentiate between tangible assets and intangible assets. So cash flow will be in the form of intangible assets because cash or money, in other words, is actually the blood that is of that business. And you are going to be using it for buying, okay, for operating the business, buying the goods, buying services that you require in order for you to run the business. The cash flow is what you're going to use to run the business in terms of paying wages and all the other liabilities of that particular business. Okay. Then there is what we are calling convenience of locality of the business area to customers. Let me explain this one a bit. This one is an intangible asset in the sense that certain businesses are evaluated on the basis of where they are located. I was giving that example yesterday, sir, in some test.
Yes.
At one time, because as Fortune World Investments, we started doing businesses some time back, and we have learned from mistakes. The best university of business, apart from being mentored, we had no mentor, but we are able to mentor others now. The best university sometimes is going through something, you discover that this is the wrong way of doing it, so that next time you can do it correctly.
Sure.
We opened a very well-stocked shop. We were selling household goods in stadium area at a certain complex of a friend of mine, very innovative a young man. He's very good at real estate, very, very good. He had very good shops there, and we rented one shop. So we had a lot of items like duvets, blankets. We could sell all sorts of nice things, carpets and everything. But the shop was located in an area which is not very much patronized by customers. Why? Because although that concept can work in some other towns which are bigger, going to Lusaka, you can go to Woodland Shopping Center, you can go to Kablonga, you can go to Makeni, and there is patronage there. Solwezi is still at its infancy, where you cannot have a successful big shop in a residential area. We have not yet grown to that area, to that level. So that shop was not convenient for the type of business we were trying to bring. If that shop was in Independence Avenue, it would have grown by now. We had to close the shop, unfortunately, and we had to go into something else. So where you put your shop is very important. A plot at town center, okay, 30 by 30 sized plot, will not cost the same as a 30 by 30 shop, or plot that is found maybe in a place like maybe Messenger's compound. Same size, same potential, but different in value. Why? Because the other one is located in a place which is full of patronage. So where you put your shop, where you put your business, where you put your offices matters, especially depending on the type of business. So when we say convenience of locality, it is an intangible asset, and we can use that to evaluate your business. Then we have what we call customer list and loyalty. If you want to evaluate your business, another dimension that you look at is the customer base. Okay? How many customers does that business have? The sure customers, the repeat customers. Maybe it's a company that is registered very well, and you are counting how many companies you have contracts with, how many companies you are servicing. Maybe you are a cleaning business and somebody wants to buy your business. They want to look at all this information. What is the customer list and loyalty status of this company? If we took it over, how many clients is it already servicing in terms of cleaning? So maybe you are a cleaning company and you can say, we have contracts for cleaning with about 7 banks in Solwezi. We also clean, and just give you an example, we also clean ShopRite and Pick and Pay. Then you have a customer list and you are able to evaluate maybe the income that is generated as a sure income from these businesses. That is another way in which you can identify this as an intangible asset and you can use it to evaluate your business. So the goodwill. Goodwill is very important because it is the perception from the public, the goodwill from the general public. Okay? So goodwill is very, very important as you are evaluating your business. And if you have goodwill, that is also something that we can consider as an intangible asset. So what's the difference between tangible assets and intangible assets? Tangible assets are more like in the form of goods. Intangible assets are more like in the form of value. Okay? What adds value to that particular business? Those are intangible assets. Then we have, okay, let's look at the aspect of financial data. Financial and accounting data are also key in business appraisal, okay? Because it is taken at face value. Financial data is important because it is taken at face value, okay? But we also need to realize that we need to leave room. It should be able to leave room for adjustments of minor mistakes in the judgment of how we interpret our, our financial data. Okay, so we need to be accurate. Financial data can be updated as regular as possible, but it is also very, very important as we evaluate the business. So, for example, we have a mentoring program still under the sponsorship of Kansanshi Mining PLC. We have a mentoring program and we go around visiting businesses. We want to measure their performance based on the knowledge that they acquire from the business development training program. One of the questions that I ask our participants is how they can evaluate their business, what is the value of their business in terms of assets and money. In monetary terms, what is the size of your business? How can you evaluate it? Okay? And they'll be able to tell you to say, okay, I've got this grocery store. This is my building. I built it myself. The building is worth, let's say, 15,000 kwacha, as an example. The stock items are worth 5,000, and the cash in the till is 3,000. So I can evaluate this business. It is worth about 25,000 kwacha. So you're looking at the assets, and you're looking at the stock, and you're looking at the cash flow. So you may also need, okay, if you want to come up with proper financial data, you may, depending on the complexity of your business, the size of your business, you may need the help of a qualified accounting person so that they can help you to draw up a balance sheet and an income statement. We have done a topic earlier in the year. We did a topic on business planning. We were able to show you all these things: the balance sheet, profit and loss account, the cash flow statement, and all those things. Those are very important in evaluating your business. Business evaluation is important because it will help you to attract uh, partners. It will also help you to, attract a loan. Maybe you want to go and borrow at a bank, and the bank is going to evaluate your cash flow statement, and they will just look at how big your business is and how strong your business is. That's why they ask for things like your collateral. Okay, what bonded assets do you have? Do you have buildings with title deeds? What is the value? So that if we give you 500,000 kwacha, you have assets maybe that are worth 1 million kwacha and they can be put up as collateral. So if we give you this cash and you fail to pay, at least there's something that they can hold on to. So all those things are important, and that is why we need to evaluate our business also on the financial side. So let's look at the other aspect that my colleague will take us through.
Okay, thank you so much. Now we look at time. We have already looked at financial data and the others. Now, time. On time, we say all estimated values are limited by time, and adjustments may be made as changes occur over conditions change. Therefore, the suggested or estimated values in a business plan will only be valued for a short time relative to the size of the industry and market of your business. So here we are saying, the estimated values, when you estimate, those are actually limited by time, because the estimates that I made last month on my company may not be the same next month, in that there will be change. There are changes in the value of the money itself. So you find there are fluctuations on the rates. All that can affect your estimates. So now, meaning when you do your evaluations, do them in a specific time. For example, if I want to appraise my company, my small company, I'm a very small company actually. So the only way I can do that would be, maybe I estimate for a period of 3 months. Then I would be saying, okay, within these 3 months, at least I will have sold enough of my items, and this is the kind of money that I have raised in relation to what I projected in my financial plan. Okay? Time there is limited. I may not wait until 6 months or until 1 year, because you would find that by the time you evaluate at 6 months or at 1 year, you will have actually gone into a loss and maybe fail even to recover. So the period should be in such a way that you monitor as you go. If there are any shortfalls as you do the appraisal, you should be able to come back and sit on your drawing table and say, well, here, I think my business is not doing well. Then you start asking yourself questions. Why is it not doing well? It's because maybe there is a problem in maybe the staff. Say the staff are not doing very well because they lack training, right? You will be able in that particular short time to save your company from going down, because quickly you bring in, you know, uh, interventions there to address the shortfalls. So that's why you must at least make sure that you do your appraisal in a shortest period of time, so that at least you'll be able to monitor. All the above may apply to project appraisals with very little changes, as we'll see later. Okay. The single most important factor in or to impact on the value of your business is that law of supply and demand, and the existence of desirable substitute products and competitors within your market. It is therefore important that you stand out to be the supplier of the choice by buyers to increase value. Okay, this is also adding to time. You know, products, they change with time. Okay, now if you do not frequently evaluate, you know, your business to see whether the same products that you have put forth there are the ones that people still want, then you find yourself having problems. You'll be stuck with the stock which is not being bought because it's no longer appealing to your customers. Okay, so now let's look at how to appraise a business project. There are basically three approaches to determine the value of any business. The fourth is a combination of a number of approaches. The first approach is the cost approach. This considers the cost of running the business. So, cost approach, we are looking at how much is it going to cost to run this particular business? How much money do you need to invest into this business? So that is supposed to be looked at as you appraise. You are looking at how much money does it make sense if I plowed in such an amount of money in this kind of business? Okay. Then the second one is the income approach, which is a financial analysis consisting of capitalizing an income stream and a risk rate that reflects current market conditions. Now you have these two factors here. You have looked at the market at the cost approach. This is the monies that you are plowing into this business. Then you look at the income approach. How much money am I getting out from there into the business? So these two should make economic sense, because if I'm plowing more money in the business, then the income is less, which means it does not make economic sense. I'm not doing business there. I'm actually losing. It's like you are plowing money in a drain. Okay? So these two are the ones that you should look at very carefully as you are doing an appraisal. You can take up that one.
Okay, so just in addition to what my colleague has mentioned, let me also add on the aspect of how to appraise a business or a project with regards to. Let me just also talk about the cost approach and give an example. We are saying that the cost approach is where you consider the cost of running the business. We need to differentiate between cost and sales, cost and price, the cost and income. So the cost of running the business will include all the expenses, okay? All the expenses that you incur in running that particular business. So, for example, yesterday we were giving an example, Mr. Mtesi, where I was talking about our farm.
Yeah.
For instance, Fortune World Investments the chili runs a farm, and we have got a very big chili project at the moment. We are now preparing for some rain-fed projects, but we've been doing that under cultivation. So we spent money on erecting tanks and putting pipes and all those things. We spend money on fuel to run the gensets. And we pay workers, and we have been doing this for months without making anything from there in return yet. Okay? And I was just laughing yesterday, and I was saying, this time last year, the price of chili was very high. It was going to about 300 kwacha a meda at the border there in Kasumbalesa. This year, the price as at now is 50 kwacha a meda. Okay, so we have invested a lot of money, and we had these big projections. So the cost of setting up that business can also be used to evaluate the business. Okay, so we can evaluate that farm project based on how much we have put in, how much we have spent on fuel, on the equipment, on the machinery, on everything, including the wages of the workers. Okay, but that does not translate directly into the income. So the cost approach, yes, it's good. It can be used to evaluate the business, and you can project. So if everything goes well according to plan, you can start projecting to say, after that, this is how much we're going to make, from the sales and the profits. But the income approach is now the actual, which is a financial analysis that will talk about, the money that is coming into the business. Okay, this is very important, very, very important, because some investments can actually become losses at some point. Some investments can also just break even, where what you spent on the project is retained. You just bring back what you spent, and you're not really making the profits. So as we evaluate the businesses, all that information is very, very important. I can tell you that, fellow farmers, those of us at the moment who are not yet processing, our businesses are not, they're not very predictable. They're not very, very predictable, because the prices of those crops or those products may vary depending on market conditions. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that point. But the third approach is the market data approach, which values the business based on current sales in the marketplace. Okay, the market data approach. So with this one, you are evaluating your business based on the approach or the demand in the market, in the marketplace. Okay, so you'll be able to determine to say, okay, this particular business that we are doing, this particular project, has got a lot of potential in this particular marketplace that we have entered. So in using this approach, okay, using the cost approach, you will remember that the cost of something, as I said earlier, does not necessarily determine its selling price. Okay? This is true in a rapidly changing market, which is highly affected by technological changes or variance in supply and demand. That is exactly what happened with our chili business. What happened is this time last year, everyone knew that chili is a hot item in Congo. And many of them went and planted, just like the way I was thinking. So they went and planted, and this time the market is flooded. Okay. So there are all those dynamics in the marketplace. So the cost approach is not a determinant of the selling price. So you can invest a lot of money in your cabbages. That does not mean that it will actually translate into sales at a particular value. When the market is flooded, the prices also begin to regulate themselves. Okay. The income approach, on the other hand, is meaningful if assets are used to produce income. Okay. You have assets which you are using as a business to produce income. You have a car, and that car is being used as a taxi. It's generating income. Or you have a car hire business. Okay. So you can use that to bring in income into the business. Or you have a shop, and that shop is where you're using, where you are selling your products. Maybe it's a grocery store. That shop is actually your asset that you can use as you are, evaluating from the point of view of the income approach. What other assets can we talk about? You have a hammer mill. That hammer mill, that machinery, you are using that to bring in money into the particular business, so you can use it to measure your income. The market approach, on the other hand, can also be very useful because it will help you to analyze data that you draw from the market based on price lists of other businesses to what the buyer is willing to pay. Okay, so there is what my colleague was talking about, a market survey. When you are going into a business, okay, maybe you want to open a grocery store, you cannot just put up prices. Okay, I'll get this at the wholesale price and I'll add a markup of 50%. You have to look at the prevailing prices in the community. So if markup on a bottle of cooking oil is only 2 kwacha and you come in with 3 kwacha, then your products will move very slowly because you'll be considered to be more expensive. So the market approach will be useful as you are going to be looking at prices that are in the market. Okay, you are going to survey the price lists on the various products, and maybe your differences must not be so much. Maybe with just 15 way and so forth, that is accepted. Okay, and the buyers are very particular because when a buyer or a potential customer goes into a shop, they will be comparing your prices with that other shop at the corner. And if they find that your products are cheaper, then you are likely to win over some customers. Okay, so it is very, very important because buyers also are important stakeholders. And the market approach is therefore very, very useful, especially in this world of competition. We have so much competition. We have our famous Katondo Street here in Solwezi, and most of those shops there are hardware shops. They sell similar products. They sell the same kinds of products. What will differentiate them is the price being one of them. Of course, the quality of the products is another factor, as well as the customer care. But price is very, very important. So as customers go there, they'll be comparing prices from shop to shop. And you can use this data, okay, compared to how you are faring in the market. So when you are evaluating your business, it is very important to also, to use the market approach, because that is what will actually give you, an accurate picture of how you can evaluate your business. So let's look at another area as my colleague will take you through.
The other area is correlation method. In other cases, it may be apparent that several methods would be appropriate for the final value. In such cases, you may seek help from an expert on which methods are appropriate. In a project, there are only 4 key steps. These steps are: 1, the concept analysis. Here you look at the overview of the project. The second one is the concept brief. Here you define goals and objectives of that particular project that you are analyzing. The third one being project organization. Here we determine an organization, its structure, roles, and responsibilities. Then the project approval and implementation. Here we review goals and objectives, costs and financial plans, and implement. So I would ask my colleague maybe to add some meat on that.
Okay. So in a project, we have heard that there are only 4 key steps. We have heard that the first step is the concept analysis. The concept analysis is where you look at the overview of the project. What is a concept? A concept is simply a picture of what your project will be about, what you really want to do. So if you, for instance, you approach certain institutions and you want to get a grant, you want them to give you a grant, they will ask you to, submit what they call a concept note. So a concept note is just a picture of what the project will be about, okay? How it is going to impact the community, your business, and so forth. So the concept analysis approach is a very, very key step, because that is where now you are giving the full picture, to your stakeholders as to how this project is going to be. The second, one is the concept brief. Okay, that is the second stage. A concept brief. You define your goals, you define your objectives, at this stage. Okay, your goals or the picture of what you want to achieve. Okay, goals and objectives. What you want to achieve and how you want to achieve them. That is very, very important. It's a very, very important stage. The project organization is the third stage. This stage will determine an organizational structure or roles and responsibilities. The project organization. Let me give an example. You have been given a project to do as a business. Okay? That project maybe is for you to, once again, I'll use very simple examples like constructing. Maybe you have been given to construct a house by this company. Okay? So, in project organization, we are talking about the management structure. So, you need to have a qualified builder, okay, that is going to interpret the drawing of that house. He is going to supervise, the those helpers that are going to help him, the bricklayers. He will supervise them. In other words, he's going to supervise the entire project. Then you can have a project site manager, the person now who is in overall charge of the entire picture, the one who plans, okay, how long this house is going to take. He plans what materials are going to be used, how many pockets of cement, how many roofing sheets, how many door frames, window frames, everything, whatever. Okay? He will guide even the builder because this is like the overall project manager is the expert, guiding everyone and making sure that you are moving in accordance to the project timeline. Okay? Because there are projects which are given, okay, you can be given maybe 3 months. You need to complete and hand over this project. So that project site manager will make sure that you are doing today's work today according to schedule. Okay. So we call that project organization, where you have different roles and responsibilities. The roles of the project manager are known. The roles of the builder, the one who is actually building, are known. The roles of the helpers, the bricklayers, are known. The roles of the other general workers are known. So you divide responsibilities. This stage is also very important. The fourth stage is what we call project approval and implementation. Okay? The first stage, you have given the concept. The second stage, you have given details of how the project will be done, where you want to go. The third stage, you have given a picture of how the organization is going to be. Who will do this, who will do that, what are their roles. The fourth stage, which is the project approval and implementation stage, is where now you review the goals and objectives, the costs, the financial plans, and then you implement. You have approved, you are saying, okay, we are happy of what you want to do. This is a good picture. This is realistic. It is within the budget. The money is there. Go ahead and start the project. That is very, very important as we do business and project appraisal. So let's go to the next part. My colleague will take us through.
Thank you so much. A business appraisal report will look something like this. Now, here is just an outline of an example of how a business appraisal report should look like. It will have a month, like here we are in December. Then it will have the name of the organization, the name of the organization. You will also have the address and contact details of the members of that organization, that is the contact persons there and the details. Then as you go down, you will have now where you indicate now the tangible asset value. The tangible asset values, the assets by value showing current value, including inventories. These should show current values. How much are these goods which are in stock? The property, the contents of the buildings, all these should be updated values. Then you have the equipment and vehicles. If they are in vehicles, you have to also value this, the current value. Remembering that equipment also have depreciations. They depreciate during the period. So now they should have at least a current value. Then you have also land. How much is that land? You have to put a cost to that land. Then transferable rights and licenses. Should also look at the total current assets value. An example here is 5 million. Then also that is a list of the tangible assets. Then now when you come to intangible business value, here you'll be looking at established customer base. I think this was also explained during the first slides. You look at those established ones, the people, the customers, those who are very loyal to you, those who are always there, you know. Then you also look at the current location. Where are you located? And that location, how good is it for the business that you are doing? Of course, we heard of that explanation which Fortune World went through when they had a shop in a location which was not good for the type of business that they did. So now you also look at that. Then you look at the management system in place. What type of management do you have in place? Then most importantly, you also look at the cash flow. Then you also look at the proprietary rights and the training of staff. Sorry. I looked at, I was so, I looked at the cash flow and I said I placed some importance on that. This one, why I placed some importance on the cash flow, this is the tool that you can easily use as a small scale business person. Here now, you will not be appraising a project. You will be appraising your small business. Say, for example, here is a small business, a shop. How do you appraise that shop? You will use actually easily the cash flow by making sure that you record every sale, every purchase, Then after some time, you should be looking at that. How much money did I spend? How much money is it that how much money has come in the shop? Then as you go along, you'll be able to see whether you are making any business, sense. Are you making any profits? Or are you making losses? Or are you static, right? Where you are not moving. So you should be able now, when you see using the cash flow, when you establish where you stand in those three sectors, then you'll be able to uh, introduce some interventions in order to uh, remedy the problems that you are having. Okay, so we are also looking at the intangible business value. We looked at training of staff. So now we are about winding, but now, as usual, we still have our 15 minutes. So we need to give you the line. Is it the 097?
Okay, so our phone lines are open.
Is it the 097?
Yes, 0978 383 141. Give us a missed call.
Yes.
0978 383 141. We shall call you back, ask you a question, and we shall endeavor to answer for the benefit of everyone that is listening. There is an SMS, a message that came from my friend Mr. Kamau. He says, suppose one has a good and profitable business project that he wants to embark on. Now, due to small financial capacity, he is unable to carry it out. Therefore, he wants to partner with someone or with an organization so that the project may start running. Now, how can one identify a business partner? Or is it okay to wait, keep pushing until your financial capacity is okay enough to start running that particular project? Okay, very good question, Mr. Kamau. I'm going to answer this question as follows. As a small business person, you have a project that you want to do. The best thing that you need to do is to put your house in order. Make sure that you have put everything in place with regards to, what we have, just been talking about in terms of being able to appraise your business. Make sure your systems are put in place properly. Make sure you have proper records with regard to the performance of your business. Make sure you've got proper accountability systems, because that is one of the things that will attract partnership. Partnership is not very easy, especially in this part of the world, because of the issue of integrity, because of the issue of trust. But when you put in place all those things where you are transparent enough, it is easy for you to sell your business to a potential partner or to a potential institution that can co-partner with you or co-finance you. Okay. They say if you want to, to go far in life, you must go with others, move with others if you want to go far. But if you just want to go, somewhere near, then you can do it alone. The world now is becoming sophisticated. All these giant businesses that we are seeing are partnerships. Why? Because we have different skills coming together. Others bring in resources like finances. Others will bring in certain expertise. Others will bring in the goodwill and connections and so forth. And together, you are able to put up those pieces. So as a start, my friend Mr. Kamau, yes, you can start pushing. Yes, you can push until you reach a certain level of financial stability, but put in all those management uh, you know requirements. Let there be transparency. Let there be transparency. Let your business be very transparent in such a way that it is attractive, very attractive, and you are going to actually make sure that you are going to attract the required help or the required partnership. There is a caller, and let me just call him back so that we can get his question. Good morning, your name and where you are calling us from.
This is Job Whiteson calling from Kazomba.
Mr. Njovu, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Your question, sir.
I have a question to the doctor. I need a clarification. My group needs clarification.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. We got the first vaccination called the Johnson Johnson, if I'm not mistaken. Then again, I heard about the fourth wave which is coming. Those who are being vaccinated, are they able to go back again to get the second vaccination? Then those who are not being vaccinated on the Johnson Johnson, are they going to the clinic to get the 2 injections or just only one for fourth wave? Then the second one, sir, according to the business of selling fish, in order to maintain good value for our business, I take fish to Chawama on the open dish, and the customers need Mbasela, and we offer them Mbasela, and my fish goes finish area compared to those who have got the stick in the shops. I am doing well in the business to help the customers, or customers, they are hitting on my head. I need clarification over those 2 questions, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Let me start by answering the second question, and then my colleague is going to answer the one on the vaccine. Okay, but I've seen that there is another caller. Thank you. I'll answer that question. Okay, there is another caller. Somebody else is trying to call. Let me quickly call them back. Okay. All right. Another question is coming from Mr. Alex Shindikenya. When the project is rejected, to rebuild the structure to whom the cost of the materials will be, or in other words, he's saying when you are given a construction project and because of bad works, your project is rejected and you are told to rebuild, at whose cost is it going to be? All right. Okay, let me answer the first question by my colleague, Mr. Njovu. The second question is you take fish to the market, okay, and you sell it on a dish, and you are giving Mbasela, and your fish finishes very quickly, okay? It finishes quicker than those in shops. Now, is that the right thing to do, or are the customers actually feeding on you? I think the answer to that one, sir, is that such a business is not sustainable. If you're going to run your business as a business, you need to have a system. Fish is supposed to be sold per kg if it is, fresh fish. Try to formalize your business. Try to sell it in such a way that you are not going to lose out. You need to, consider all the costs. That's why we are talking about all those assets and intangible assets as you evaluate your business. You need to sell your fish like an organized business. There's no need for you to give Mbasela if your shop is organized. But when you are selling on the open market, the practices on the open market are different. We can start by selling on the open market. We all start from there. But as your business is formalized and as it grows, my advice is you need to change and you need to start operating it at a different level where you are going to have a proper system of measurement, so that is when you can actually maximize your profits. The second question, maybe my colleague can
Thank you.
answer that.
Mr. Njovu, your first question, thank you so much for that question. You got your first vaccine of Johnson & Johnson, and I'm sure you were given a certificate, a vaccination certificate. You are done until further notice. If there will be any need for a revaccination or a booster vaccination, that will be communicated to us by the relevant authorities. As it now, it has been found that the injection that you got, the vaccination that you got, is still potent and it still can protect you from the new variant. So you will not be expected to go to the health facility to get another jab now. That jab which you got and you have a certificate, you are done. You just wait and keep your ears open. If there will be any need to do something else, you will be informed, since we even have your details in our database. I hope I have answered your question. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Let me answer the question by our brother, Mr. Alex Injikinya. You have been told that your building is rejected. Okay, you were given maybe a tender, maybe by the council or by the provincial administration or even a company, and you are building maybe something like a 3-by-1 classroom block. Then they come, the engineers or the supervisors of the project come and they tell you, these walls are bent. The building can collapse. Can you break them down and rebuild? At whose cost will that be? Well, to help answer that question, let me say that we need to do things right the first time. When we are given work to do, it is very important that we understand the specs, we use qualified people to do that project, because if we use people that are not qualified and they don't do a good job, the cost will come to us when we are told that you need to break it down. Unfortunately, the cost will come to the company that is building, because you are expected to be a professional that is going to execute those works professionally. So whether that is going to eat up all your profits, you are expected to rebuild. And if you don't rebuild, then you will be blacklisted definitely for failing to complete that project. But we can save ourselves from that trouble by actually being companies or entrepreneurs that are going to carry out projects properly the first time. Any job that is going to be done again is a cost to the company. It is a cost to that particular business. Okay, there is a project that we were doing. Unfortunately, it was not our fault. We ordered some items from South Africa, and when they arrived, we discovered that some items were missing because the bus that was transporting them did not take very good care of them. So we had to buy the missing items and we had to pay twice. It ate into our profit. And in fact, all the profit went to buying that item so that we can deliver to the customer, so that our name can be preserved. Those are some of the things that happen in business. Sometimes the agents that you use can cost you business. We lost one contract in the past before because we subcontracted. We used to have a clothing business, a clothing factory, and we were doing security uniforms for this client, a big client. And when we were given specifications and we subcontracted a company, a tailoring company, to do that work for us, they did a very bad work. They did not follow the specifications, so some of the uniforms were too big and so forth. And we lost that client. That client has never come to order from us. It is now over 3 years now. So sometimes the ones that we select to do our work are very critical. So Mr. Shinjikinya, when you get that CDF project, make sure you constitute a team of experts, a team of people that will represent you well, and make sure that you supervise them. What you supervise, don't take it for granted that these are professionals, because I have had, in my experience, even educated people need supervision. They may be more educated than you. I supervise people that have more qualifications than myself sometimes. If you don't supervise them, they will make mistakes because they are human beings. So supervise every stage before it is approved until you attain perfection. In other words, in business, you must be a perfectionist. I hope I've answered that. We still have a few minutes to go. The number that you can call is 0978 383 141. So to summarize our lesson for today, we are saying that the key factors to consider in a business appraisals are as follows. So number one, we are saying the history and nature of the business. History and nature of the business compared to the current. Let me call back. There is a caller. I see Mr. Njovu is calling again.
Yes, my director.
Yes, Mr. Njovu.
Yes, we have we heard earlier on that we should put all requirements about the running the business. Now here comes one for the land. We want our business to take part. Now the problem is we haven't yet got papers from the government like ownership. In order to get the ownership in Zambia, like you want Northwestern to be developed, we need to work on the land system. Now it's expensive. When you go in order to get loans, they're saying, no, you should have something. And the thing which you have is the land here in Solwezi. What help or what picture can they give us or ideas so that the government should help us or listen to us? Because most of the Northwestern province, they have got land and water, but we don't have papers. To work on the papers, it's a process to the government. Now we need help. What clarification can you tell us, sir?
Okay, thank you very much. We are going to endeavor to answer that question, sir. Thank you. Okay, so Mr. Njovu has brought up an issue. Okay, maybe my colleague can attempt to answer that one.
I'll do part of it. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Njovu, land, yes, you may have. And now you are saying getting the papers. I'm sure you are talking about title. There are two things in land. I'm sure where you are there, if you have land, it should be the traditional land, the one which is being taken care of by our chiefs. Before they give you that land, they have actually a committee of people, that is the lands committee. Every chiefdom has that. These people will interview you when you go there to ask for land. During that interview, they will ask you lots of questions at what you want to use the land for. When you have given them that, they, as a committee, will sit down and look at how you answered those questions, whether you should be given that piece of land or not. Then, if you qualify, they will give you that piece of land, and there will be papers from the chief allowing you to do whatever you are doing on that land. Then it's from there now that you go now to the council and the lands. Those are the ones now who will actually process your papers up to title stage. But some other lending organizations or lending companies like banks, they may accept the letters from the chief, which are authorizing you to actually do some business on that land which they have given you. That can also be accepted by the other lending agencies. So you can approach these lending agencies using that approach of getting the papers from the chief, then you go and ask for a loan. Some other organizations can give. Even the government, if you are asking for a grant, they give actually going on the strength of the letters from the chiefs. I think maybe you can add on.
Thank you so much. In addition to that, you brought up the issue of the cost, the high cost of processing maybe title deeds. What help can we render? I think our job, this program is actually also connected to the Northwestern Chamber of Commerce and Industry. The sponsorship is actually done by Kansanshi, and the training program is run in conjunction with Northwestern Chamber of Commerce. So at the chamber level, our job is to lobby government. We can bring up some proposals to say, can we maybe make the cost of processing papers for title deeds affordable, okay? Or we can find a way in which, just like my colleague says, some of the pieces of land which are documented by a piece of paper from the chief can be accepted. If that can be brought into law, then it is going to become much easier that somebody can actually present a piece of land, a document from the chief to the bank, and they can use that as collateral. But as it stands now, most commercial banks would want a title deed. Why? Because a title deed is more permanent. When you have a paper from the chief, usually what happens is assuming that maybe on that piece of land there are minerals, and there's an investor who wants to open a mine, they are going to actually ask you to move. They can compensate you, but they'll move you because that is not, something that is titled. Okay, so we can look at it in that way. In terms of the cost, our job is just maybe to lobby government. We can lobby the Ministry of Lands so that we can see how the processing of titles can be made available, made accessible, or made easier and affordable to the ordinary citizens. So, thank you so much. In our dying minutes, we want to conclude by saying that some of the factors to consider when you are appraising a business are: number one, the history and the nature of that business. It is very, very important. Secondly, we look at the economic outlook, okay, in the past, and then you compare it with today. How is the business environment, and how is that type of business that you are doing able to fare in the current business environment? Then you look at the book value then, of your business compared to today. Where were you 2 years ago in terms of book value? Also considering the depreciation of the kwacha maybe, or you look at the exchange rate then and now, then you can find the answer as to whether your book value has increased or it has remained the same or it has gone down. Your earning capacity of that business, okay, in that time compared to today, how many clients did you have? Or how many sales were you making compared to now? That is also very important. The value of intangible assets and its contribution to profitability of the business. Intangible assets, we said that these are the assets, such as the cash flow in that business, the goodwill, the location of the business, the networks that you have, and so forth. So value of intangible assets is also very important as we do business appraisal. Then we also have recent sales of stock compared to previous or estimated sales during the planning phase. Then finally, you look at the market value in comparison to other companies. So you have a hardware shop that you are selling, you have evaluated it, and there's another hardware shop being sold. So you are able to compare the two and look at which one is more valuable in consideration of all the other aspects that we use in evaluating a business. Well, dear learners, as we are coming to the end of this training, it is our hope, me and my colleague, that you are going to find this information useful. We are coming to the end of the year, and this is actually the best time for you to appraise your business so that you can start on a very well-informed and fresh page as you enter 2022. We wish your businesses very well. You must remember that you can evaluate your business regardless the size and regardless the type, whether it's registered or not, whether it is worth 500 kwacha or 1 million kwacha, you can evaluate your business. You need to inculcate this skill. Remember that money will follow you when you are organized. You may not have the big money now, but the way you think will attract money. Let us organize ourselves. Let's evaluate our businesses, and we're going to see that as we move on, our businesses will be very attractive. It is possible for you to attract partners because your business is well evaluated. To our sponsors, once again, Kansanshi Mining PLC, we want to thank you most sincerely for sponsoring this training program, which has brought a lot of value to the business community. May you continue with your good works, even as we also endeavor to represent you as we deliver these lessons to the business community. And to our partners, Bits FM, thank you so much for the airspace, for giving us coverage so that we are able to disseminate information, once again, to a vast geographical area according to where your radio waves, can reach. Thanks to all those that were following us on social media. Continue visiting our Facebook page. Revise and revise and revise. We have got our slides there. Please take time to also just like the Facebook page, like it, and share that information with others. Let the number of people that are benefiting grow. Let them grow. Visit our YouTube page, Fortune World Investments Limited. Like our page, and let others also benefit from that page. So from us, we would like to say thank you so much. Pleasant listening until we meet again tomorrow for the kicker on the version of Zambian labor laws. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving to the beat of your drama. This is It's Appraised 88.1.
Asante binti.
Wabuka F1.
Babuka vipi?
One Sunday.
Asante mwana. Asante. I can see you have a lot of materials,
I've just discovered that since you're dealing with that, let me give you. I have a lot, in fact.
Okay.
That is just some samples.
Yes.
Yes.
Need I'll be able to download this to my computer.
Yes.
So that I can clear the space here.
Yes.
Save them there. I'm sure they will be very useful.
Yeah. I'll send it. I'll send them again on to your email.
Okay. Beautiful.
You can access them even on your laptop.
Excellent. Okay, so something vingi mwana kama unangana kesho for the kika on the version.
Muraka wetu.
Muraka wetu. Asante vingi.
On such a special day, everyone wants to wear that outfit that will carry and leave a lasting impression for